Exploding trees. Incoming deadly cold. Incoming deadly cold. Causing trees to explode. Explode. To explode.
Get your hard hats, prepare your bomb shelters.
Because the tree apocalypse is upon us. Oh, the comments are already flowing in. Let's take a look. Well, 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 my old friend. Good. Let the comment wars begin. That's right, it's me, meteorologist Joseph Actually Meyer. And actually, are trees really going to explode? Well, no, but it's technically not incorrect. It's called frost crack, and it's a rare occurrence in trees. Frost crack can happen in two ways. Tree sap has a lower freezing point than water, so it has to be really cold for it to freeze. As the sap freezes, like water, it will expand. As it expands against the wood, the pressure is enough for it to crack. The second way is sudden cooling of the tree, causing the bark to contract against the slower cooling wood. This would cause the bark to crack. But what's the real risk here? Outside of some loud noises or a possible falling branch, we're not going to wake up to a wasteland of trees. As for the tree, most frost cracks are minor enough to where they're not too concerning, but in rare cases, they can leave some permanent damage. I'm meteorologist Joseph Actually Meyer. I'll see you in the next comment section. 2 inches of snow in the forecast. Football season can bring all kinds of fun and all kinds of weather, from warm and sunny days to the pouring rain. Football season brings some big fun, but it also brings some big weather. I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer, and here in Nebraska and Iowa, one of the biggest hazards we experience is the extreme cold. So how can you stay warm during football games? Let's take 4 downs to talk about this topic. The key word is layers. You usually want to have around 3. The first should be moisture wicking to prevent sweat. Your second layer should be your insulation. And your third layer should be either a windproof or a waterproof coat. It's also imperative that you cover your skin with gloves, hats. You name them, you need them. You also would need a blanket, especially if you're sitting on a cold bleacher. Now the weather affects everyone, even the players, even the game. The cold weather makes the players' hands numb, which may lead to them not being able to catch it and leading to more fumbles. Players may also see an effect to their throwing or kicking. Because cold air is denser, more friction will act on the ball, meaning when a player goes to kick or throw it, it may not go as far. Now before you go, always check the forecast to make sure that you're dressing accordingly for whatever Mother Nature may bring, whether it be rain or whether it be the cold. In Omaha, I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer. It's happened to all of us. You've been outside for only 15 minutes and you look like this. It's not only that heat, it's the humidity. But where does that exactly come from in our neck of the woods? Now, the majority of our humidity comes from a very basic answer, and that's just bodies of water. But we're here in Nebraska. So where does all of that humidity come from? Well, believe it or not, the answer lies in the corn. Now, the answer on the trivia question is going to be evapotranspiration, but we know of it as the more common term, corn sweat. So how does corn sweat work? Well, corn effectively acts like a giant straw. It sucks the water from the ground, uses it for photosynthesis, and spits it out into the air. That's better. So whenever I'm in a story, you know what you're about to get. We're about to talk about some numbers. Now bear with me, they're not too complex. 1 acre of corn emits about 3,000 to 4,000 gallons of water. Nebraska has about 10 million acres of corn, meaning that per day, Nebraskan corn emits 30 to 40 billion gallons of water. Now, humidity is not only factored in by the corn sweat. Even though we're landlocked, we still get the majority of our moisture from various bodies of water. But the next time you're having a corn on the cob at the outdoor barbecue, you can blame that for the reason why you're sweating so much. In Omaha, I'm 3 News Now meteorologist Joseph Meyer. Sure is a nice cold day for some sledding. Let's do this. Thrusters to full, baby. Let's go. Woo! There's literally no snow. I can't believe it. It used to snow all the time when I was a kid, and now it never snows anymore. At least that's what we all think. I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer in a snowless Memorial Park to answer the question, did it used to snow more during the good old days? Well, the short answer is yes, but that's not the full story. Looking at data since 1945 can give us the full picture. From the 1940s to the 1980s, the average winter in Omaha was about 30 to 35 inches of snow. Since the 1980s, that number has decreased to the last decade being on average about 23 inches of snow. If we look at the average number of snow events in Omaha, anything over 2 inches, that number has also dropped from around 5 to 6 days back in those decades to around 3 to 4 in the more recent decades. Now, those two data points point towards yes, but there is one specific data point that does stick out, and that's the number of major snowstorms in Omaha, anything 6 inches or more. That number from the 40s to now has remained virtually unchanged, meaning that based on all of this data, we're seeing less snow over the decades, but those big memorable snows that we get still happen at the same frequency. Now, contrary to all of that data, it still does snow in Omaha. The winters of 2019 and 2021 were particularly snowy, and we did have a blizzard in January of last year. Of course, it can't be left unsaid the big outliers in this data, the 1970s and the 1980s, where it truly felt like it snowed all the time in Omaha. To reminisce about those events, or to see what our parents endured, you can find those articles linked at our website at 3newsnow.com. Now, in the meantime, I'm going home. Turns out, not a great day to go sledding. In Memorial Park, I'm 3 News Now meteorologist Joseph Meyer. You can still roll down the hill, I guess. At least they're having fun.
Sweater weather. And no, we're not just talking about a song by The Neighborhood, we're talking about the term used in the cold season. I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer, and the term is simple enough. It's when it's cold enough to break out those sweaters. But what exactly is cold enough? Now, there's not a lot of scientific studies on this question, but we do have a couple of answers. So back in 2016, the Weather Channel conducted a survey that asked respondents in the 48 contiguous states about what is the ideal temperature for sweater weather. The survey answers, for Nebraska, it's 55 degrees. In Iowa, it's a little warmer at 60. Now, answers vary across the country. The coldest is South Dakota at 51 degrees, and the warmest, Arizona, with 65 degrees. So that was in 2016, but I wanted some newer answers. So a couple of weeks ago, I asked you all what you think is the ideal temperature for sweater weather, and we got a range of answers. Some as cold as 45 degrees, and others as hot as 80 degrees. It's a little too hot in my opinion, but the average was around 60 to 65 degrees. In Omaha, I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer. We all want to know how much snow we're going to get and how cold it's going to be for the winter season. And to get that answer, we literally will look at anything. I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer, and old wives' tales regarding winter weather forecasting has been around for ages, and there are literally hundreds of these. So let's break down some of the most popular ones that you may have heard of. First, with the animals. Do they know something that we don't? You got the squirrels furiously gathering nuts. Then there's the beavers building strong shelters. And of course, you can't forget about the woolly worms and their designs. All of these point to signs of a harsh winter, or so the legend says. Food can also provide us signs of our winter ahead, apparently. Onions and apples having thick skin, well, that's a sign of a harsh winter. Legends also tell of acorns and other nuts giving us hints at what winter may be like. And sometimes we can tell winter from the weather itself. Some claim that the number of foggy days we see in August is the number of snowstorms we see in the winter. You can find all of these and more in the Old Farmer's Almanac, which has been around since the 18th century. The almanac also gives their own winter prediction each season, for better or worse. While I don't want to be the fun police and spoil the party, is there any truth to any of these old wives' tales? While ones like the onions do have implications for how the summer and fall turned out, none of these can accurately predict the future. But here's the thing, long-range winter forecasts are difficult to predict. So in a way, humans are not much better than squirrels, onions, August fogs, or any other prediction method to forecast the winter. However, we do have some great advantages over folklore thanks to our understanding of meteorology and modern technology. I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer.
Previously on 3 News Now.
Sure is a nice cold day for some sledding. Thrusters to full, baby. Let's go. Woo! There's literally no snow. No. Definitely a great day for sledding. What we can do more? Let's have a snowball fight. Woo! Man, why is this a good snow for sledding, but not for snowballs? Let's talk about it. I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer at a snowy Memorial Park to talk about that very thing. Now, of course, snow can come in all shapes and sizes. We learned in school that every snowflake is unique, but what causes some of those dry snows over wet snows? The snow we just had was a dry snow. You can demonstrate this by looking at this water bottle that I have filled up with snow. You think that if all of this melts, you have a full water bottle. It is incorrect, because if you actually melt all of this down, it looks something like this. Hardly any water once the snow completely melts. Now, because of that is the reason why snow can come in so many characteristics. It all comes down to the temperature. The colder it is, the less water that the air can hold, and the less moisture content there is, meaning the colder we get, typically the drier snows we see. Now, the meteorological term for this is snow to liquid ratio, or SLRs for short. A typical snowstorm has about 10 to 12 to 1, meaning about 10 to 12 inches of snow, if melted down, would equate to 1 inch of water. The snowstorm we just had recently had SLRs up to 20 to 1, meaning that 1 inch of water, you need 20 inches of snow. And for that, because the water kind of acts as a glue, it's hard to bind those snowballs and snowmen together. But of course, it is really great weather for sledding. In Memorial Park, I'm meteorologist Joseph Meyer.